I don't even know what day of the week it is. Good morning. Hi, Angie. How are you? Hi, Sean's shop. Welcome in. Hi, Nietzsche and Chantal. Hello, hello. How are you? Who else is in the house that I missed? Retrocity, thank you for the share yesterday, even though I was too sick to do my show. Hey, Crazy Tims. Good morning. How are you? I'm good, Angie. How are you still on vacay or are you back? Or I shouldn't say vacay because you had the kids, so you're home now. So did you get a chance? Why is this reflection is annoying? Hang on. We're just gonna come closer. There we go. There. Sorry, shaking you for a second. All right, slightly better. Morning, Dave. Okay, no, I've changed my mind. Hang on, everyone. Good morning, Crazy Tims. Hang on. There we go. I'm moving you because the reflection. There's still a reflection, but it's now. Oh, you get to see my. There's my deck. Everyone gets to see deck. The kids wanted to swim. Oh, the swimming there is. I love the swimming there. I used to go in my tube. So Angie's This and That was at Emily Provincial Park, which is just outside of Omemee, Ontario, between Lindsay and Peterborough. It's a beautiful little area on the Pigeon River that leads into Pigeon Lake. There are pigeons, but not a lot anymore. I assume when they named the lake and river, there were plenty of pigeons. That would be my guess as to why they named it that. Yeah, that reflection's driving me nuts. Okay, hang on. There, I'm going to adjust my glasses in an awkward way so there's less reflection. There. Morning, Nick915. How are you? Good morning. So feel free to share your shows and ask your questions. You know, the usual, where do awkward things like try to avoid reflection. I might even take these glasses off. It might be a glasses off day. I don't know. Pink Vintage Market. Good morning, Jespian. Good morning. How are you? That's such a cute little image. And I love Pink Vintage Market Co. has a cute little image too. Good morning. Good morning. So feel free to share your shows and ask your questions. I don't have any news. I have no new news. Um, and I'm waiting to see what happens with the threats of tariffs. Today's Tuesday, so this is Tuesday. Wednesday is usually the day when the orange guy down south does things. So we'll see if he does anything. He's just getting back. Oh no, he's still. What is this? Is this the 20? This is the 29th. So the orange guys finally orange Iron Brew is leaving Scotland today, so maybe tomorrow we might have an announcement. I don't know. We'll see. He might have jet lag. Hopefully he exercises because those cankles that's you can get when you've already got cankles. There's a danger of because he's got venous insufficiency. So long flights are a dangerous thing for him. Um he might get a blood clot or something. So he should be careful because blood clots are owie and then they can kill you. So good morning, K Tribute and ex Wolf Dog. Good morning. I don't want anyone, even the orange guy, to have to be hurt. I don't believe in that. I think karma works in different ways. Good morning. Dave says done complaining about windmills in Scotland. Good morning, the sassy vintage chick. How are you? I don't know. I don't know. He says he never had the privilege of going to the Epstein Island, so we should talk. We don't want to talk about that today. We definitely don't want to talk about that today. Ugh. Um. Okay. So, how are you doing, the sassy vintage chick? Oh, Jesus, Murphy, these glasses. Yeah, I'm gonna give up on them. There we go. No glasses day. No glasses, barely any makeup day. Good morning. Yesterday it was rough. Sassy vintage chick. I think I picked up a stomach virus, or my body just decided to expel everything that it could. Sorry, TMI all day. So I may have lost weight. We can only hope. But knowing me, I'm just gonna bloat up or something. Good morning, EastEnder Resales. You came in at just the right time, didn't you? Okay, so let's talk about let's just get it over with. We're gonna start the auction for 5 seconds because I can't pin on this stupid phone. So I know stomach bugs. What did I miss? Um, I had some sort of stomach bug or something yesterday. I was not well. I was unwell. I managed to pull myself together for like 15 minutes, and because I couldn't avoid doing it. I had to do a an interview about the waterfront festival. Luckily the interview was 1 minute and 30 seconds long, because it was just for a quick spot for the Chamber of Commerce. So I managed to fake it for like 15 minutes, and then I drove to the grocery store and got more bananas and some oat porridge and went home. I'm feeling a little bit better. I haven't tried eating yet though. I've just been drinking lots of water and electrolytes. So QB Collections, good morning. How are you? Okay, so let's just quickly do. I don't really have an update. I'm just kind of repeating myself for people who haven't heard the what's going on with Canada Post and the union. So, right now there is no possibility of a strike soon, with Canada Post. So there is no current strike going on. Good morning, Picky Picks. There is no current strike going on. They're currently voting on a contract offer that was given to the union by Canada Post back in the end of May. So at the end of May, Canada Post did a final, a final last offer. So they're voting on that now. Voting ends on August 1st, which is this week. So voting ends this week. Um, as of last Thursday, 57 per point something percent of the members, it's 55,000 members strong union, 57% had already voted on Thursday. There have been some issues with voting, but it looks like they're getting through that. So, but the union has been distributing, not the union, sorry, Canada Post has been distributing communiques last week and I guess yesterday, or no, last week, to members at their place of work. So Canada Post has been trying to push for people to vote yes. Of course they are. Good morning, Kalosh. Good morning, Prairie Knights. So the union's making a complaint about that. Trust me, the union will complain about everything it can. That's kind of part of their job description. It's kind of like being the leader of the opposition in Parliament. Your job is to say negative things constantly, um, and call out the government constantly. Yeah. Anyways, so it ends on August 1st. So expect that next week there will be results. And if those results are no, if the 55,000 union members vote to not accept the new contract offer, then we are potentially in a strike. However, the union has said that it is pinky promised its members that if they vote no, it will not go immediately to a strike or rotating strikes. It will go to the negotiation table. Good morning, Retro City Collectibles. I keep saying Retrocity. Retro City Collectibles, how are you? Good morning. Bonnie, good morning. How are you? So, fear not, there is no Canada Post strike anytime soon, but there could be in a couple of weeks. Why do I say that? If the vote is no, and we won't know until probably Monday or Tuesday, if the vote is no, then the union will go back to the negotiation table. But if Canada Post doesn't play ball, Canada Post could lock them out. Um, Canada Post could just like go to the negotiation table and pretend to negotiate and then not actually negotiate, like they have for the past forever. Like there's been some movement between the two parties to be close together, but not enough. So if we're lucky and the union members vote yes, and I mean lucky as in as a seller who just wants to be able to rely upon Canada Post, have a reliable postal service that I can ship things to. Good morning, Yard Yeller, Cockadoodle Doo. If they vote yes, then we're okay. there will be no strike for a few years, a couple of years at least. But if the vote is no, then the union's going to go back to the negotiation table. But if that breaks down and the government doesn't push for binding arbitration, then we could be back in strike position. So my strike clock is set at 5 minutes to midnight. Early next week, we should have the results of the vote, and then we'll go from there. So I'd say we've got a couple of weeks. If the vote is no, we've got a couple of weeks before negotiations will break down. So there you go. Mrs. Range, good morning. Okay, so that's it. Any questions about Canada Post or Cup W? Let me know if you have any questions about Canada Post or Cup W. And feel free to share your shows. I'm going to switch over to Whatnot Sellers Start Auction. Okay, so today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, Whatnot Sellers is going to be doing another one of their awesome shows. This one is Sell Smarter in the Arts and Handmade category. Even if you don't sell in arts and handmade, it is worth going into those shows because you will learn tips and tricks that you can use for your own business. Just because it's about arts and handmade doesn't mean that you're not going to learn something that's going to help you. So tune into that show. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be moving my Western wear show to later this week because I still need to take pictures and do measurements, and I haven't gotten around to that because today I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be all day community work because the stuff I wanted to do yesterday got postponed because I was sick. Um, Good morning, IBCC shop. How are you? So if you don't already follow, I'm feeling a little bit better. Thank you, IBCC shop. If you don't already follow Whatnot Sellers, please do. So I'm just going to put them in there again so that you can click on it, and there you go. Okay. So click on that little Whatnot Sellers there, and then view profile, and then bookmark all their upcoming shows. And Eastender Resales has a show tomorrow at 10 a.m. Atlantic time. Ladies wear, lots of new inventory. Stop by. That sounds exciting. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. Atlantic time, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Eastern. Stop by Eastender Resales for ladies wear, and she has lots of new inventory. And let me tell you, I've bought stuff from her, and her clothing is amazing. Is this one of yours? I can't remember. I think it might be. I think I might be wearing one of yours right now. Um, so go check that out. Who else has shows? Tell me about the shows. Tell me about what you have going on. There we go. Angie's this and that. Family Fashion Raid Train for August. Ready for sellers to sign up. Um, Direct message her to join. Great for back to school wear. If you're even pets. So any species that has clothing or fashion. So that includes jewelry, accessories, handbags, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. Anything wearable, anything usable. So if you have backpacks, lunch bags, all that kind of stuff. Hey, Liam, welcome in. And Emmy, welcome in. The Sassy Vintage Chick has a junk drawer, minis, and dollhouse show tonight. Woo! Tonight at 7 p.m. Central. Oh my gosh, that sounds like fun. I love minis. I bought so many minis. I have to do a show of all the stuff I got from England, don't I? I need to. Debbie Zions, good morning. My show is tomorrow. $1 starts. Ooh, you're a brave one. 12:30 on Vintage Decor. 12:30 Eastern. I don't want to assume that you're Eastern. Yes, okay. 12:30 Eastern tomorrow. $1 starts on Vintage Decor with Debbie Zions. Joss, welcome in. There were a lot of A's in that. For anybody watching on YouTube right now, that person had an extreme amount. I can't even count. You have a lot of A's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That looks like there's 8 A's in that. That was epic to say. You should come in more often so I can do that. Okay. So, if you have any more shows that you want to talk about, um, Eastender Resale says, I think I'm going to have a birthday show Friday, August 1st to celebrate my 60th.
60th month on the planet? Because you're definitely not 60. All items will be loaded in my shop at $6. Holy cow. No. Oh my gosh. Well, holy cow. You do not look it. You're very blessed. East Ender resales. Her 60th birthday party show is going to be on Friday, August 1st, and everything's going to be loaded in her shop for only $6. That's amazing. Team Goofy, good morning. How are you? How are things in your world? Oh, you shouldn't be blushing. You clearly you've taken care of yourself. Angie's this and that says, I have been on 2 years now. Congratulations. And we'll have a huge show in September as I'm prepping items over the month of August. That's a great idea. So you're preloading them in so people can check it out. So make sure that you follow and bookmark Angie's show that she's going to have in September. She's going to have a huge show with all kinds of preloaded stuff. It's your Scottish blood. It must be. It must be your Scottish blood, EastEnder resales. Nick, welcome in. Okay, so any questions about Whatnot at all? Don't forget today at 2 p.m. is the Whatnot Sellers show. And somebody said something and I missed it. Let me just scroll back up. Sorry. Mm, Angie says, if you know a home crafter, could help them get started with more knowledge. Yeah, absolutely. So, if you know somebody who's interested in getting into the arts and handmade category, this is a great place for them to go. It's today at 2 p.m. Whatnot Sellers is going to be doing Sell Smarter. And also, uh, this month, the topic for conversation that we're going to be having, the monthly topic of conversation, is about how to sell more efficiently on Whatnot, what you can do to sell smarter, not harder. So I will be doing a show. I haven't scheduled it yet. I need to do that today amongst everything else. Team Goofy says, I have another cancer behind my left eye, but right now I'm good. Thank God. Oh my goodness, Team Goofy. Sending you, thoughts and prayers only do so much, but they're there for you. Um, because I love you and you are awesome. So, my goodness, another cancer right behind your left eye. Oh my goodness. Sending you love. Eastender Resale says, have a great day and I hope you're on the road to recovery. Thank you so much, Eastender Resales. I love you. Truly Phoenix, good morning. And Doug Smy, good morning. Picky, you just unlocked egg. Congratulations. You suffered through 3 of my shows. You've had to spend at least 30 minutes with me in order to do so. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to go through all of that just so you could get Malachi's Madhouse. Good morning. How are you? So yeah, that's just a badge of honor to show that you managed to suffer through 3 of my morning shows. And I haven't done a lot of shows in July, did I? Because I was away for so long. And then I got sick. Yeah, I'm not doing too well. July is not my month. That's definite. I don't even want to think about my July sales. Um, I am considering changing up how I do my monthly live auctions so that they're actually on Whatnot. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it would be a curated auction. I would not be taking everything um at all. So I have to talk to the owner of Twin Mills because of the antique market just to make sure she's okay with that because I just think that I'm working really hard to sell things for $1 and it's not worth my time. It's not worth my time. Sell things for $1. So nope. My commission is I have to share commission because I'm just basically working for the antique market. So I'm thinking if it's on Whatnot, there's more opportunity for people to purchase around the world, and even just next, like if someone's home in Campbellford and they just don't want to make the 15-minute trip up to bid in person, they can do so from the comfort of their couch. Good morning, Penelope Pix. How are you? Okay, so tell me what shows you have coming up. Hi, Millicent. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. I don't know why you're not. I wish, dear Whatnot, I would really like it if we could designate people who are always moderators, no matter what. Like if we could have a section where we could do that. Is there already a section where we can do that? I don't want them to have access to my account. I don't want to. I know there's like a team thing. I don't want that. Um, merci for sharing the live stream. Isn't that cool when it comes up in French? Um, so I don't want to do that, but I definitely do want to yeah, I can't even think about when you set up the show you can yeah, I do that, but I think because I've been moving shows around, I try and iOS I can assign mods, but only up to 5. Yeah, so I can pre-assign mods, but I would like to have it that I have like a long like cuz there's a lot of people. So I would love it if I could just say these people can always be my mods. And then I can always go in and like unmod. Speaking of which, not unmodding. Good morning, Michelle. How are you? Um, so yeah. I just because but I understand that in some raid trains, for example, like I guess there are some people who, when they run the raid trains, they say that you can only have certain people as moderators, or your moderators can't join um, the giveaway, or they can't bid. Um, so yeah, I mean, I probably won't join those raid trains in the future. Um, so yeah, Millicent says TikTok is still superior when it comes to moderator functions. This is true. TikTok has done a lot of stuff. Um, yeah, I know, Sassy. I agree. I think that I don't know why, but that's that just one person. So far, I've only seen one person say that. Um, Dave from Alberta says I saw a thing on Reddit where a mod was kicking out people who bid against him. I mean, wow. Like if that happens, then that is act so interestingly enough. So let's actually talk about that for a second. So, did you know that you are responsible for your how your stream works? Um of course it was a card break show, the source of all drama. Yes, card break shows do have a lot of drama. So, you are actually responsible for what happens in your show, even if you're not the one. For example, if somebody comes in and starts making rude comments, um, and they're not caught by red chat, um, if somebody starts saying racist things, sexist things, homophobic things, slurs of any kind, if a person and you don't say something and stop it and kick that person out, you could be reported for your stream because you let that happen in your stream. So you are responsible for the people in your stream. You're also responsible if so when someone gets kicked out, I don't think it shows a notification to say to the seller and the moderator that so and so has just been kicked out. Dear whatnot, I think that needs to be something that shows up for the seller that says, you know, Dave from Alberta has just been blocked from this show, or has been sent out, or just don't mod anyone. Yeah, I mean a lot of people do need mods. But so if you were that card seller that is being accused of having a moderator who was kicking people out who were bidding against them, if you knew, if someone said, yeah, yeah, don't mod anyone you don't know, for sure. As Sassy Vintage Chick says, never mod anyone you don't know. So this could have been that somebody had moderated a whole bunch of people that they didn't know, and it turned into something horrible because someone was kicking out people that were bidding against them. But you are responsible for them. So you could actually be reported by somebody for allowing a moderator to boot out people that were bidding against them. So if you so you have to think about those kind of things. That's why be careful about who you allow to moderate. Most people, 99.9% of the people in this world would never do something like that. But there are horrible people out there, let's face it. The world is full of wonderful people and some bad apples. So just be cautious about who you allow to moderate your shows. Sometimes I will moderate a whole bunch of people in a show, and sometimes I just have a few. Most of the time, I don't need a moderator. There's been very few times when someone has needed to be blocked from the show, and the moderators got to it before I could. That has been very rare, and I've been on for 2.5 years now. Yeah, I guess it's 2.5, close to 2.5 years. So, so it's not something to worry about on a regular basis, but it certainly is something that you should be thinking of in the back of your mind is, do I really know this person well enough to give them that kind of power? Because a moderator can't start auctions for you or anything like that, but they can boot people out of the shows. They can also make announcements in your show. um Malachi's Madhouse says moderators shouldn't be allowed to bid, in my opinion. If you want something from an auction, sit that show out. That's an interesting opinion. Um, so, but so moderators, in my book, for me, in when I sell, my moderators are just people that I trust that can help me if there's a problem in the auction. I think that if you have someone who's your staff, who's a staff person, they shouldn't be bidding when they're also working for you. But most moderators are volunteers. Um, yeah. So I mean, I think there are so in some categories, Malachi's Madhouse, I can't remember what category you sell in. Let me just look again. Claimant and collector of all things vintage and nostalgic. Let's reminisce one show at time. Oh, I love it. Okay. So, um, so for me, my moderators are just people that I trust. They aren't they aren't in charge of how my show runs, and they don't even, they could say the next item up that someone's requested is this. They're just helping me move the show along. And so they're helpers, and I don't I very rarely, I think on just a few occasions, I have sent a tip to somebody to thank them, but it's very, very rare. And that's only because they like rescued my butt from a situation or really helped me um, make money. Um, or just I wasn't feeling that well, and a couple of times someone has just helped me keep going. um and so I've sent them a couple of bucks to thank them. Otherwise, I'm not one. If you mod for me, um it's because I trust you. If I put that mod, and it doesn't mean that you have to actually do anything. If you have moderator beside you, you don't have to make announcements. You don't have to do anything. For example, I'm going to mod Dave now. That doesn't mean that Dave needs to make any announcements or do anything. It's just, I trust him. So if somebody comes in and starts acting inappropriately, Dave can boot them out of the show before there's major trouble. But again, it so rarely happens that a lot of shows I just don't even don't even worry about having mods. Um, the Sassy Vintage Chick says, usually mods are other sellers who know the app. It's not as if they get special treatment or deals while bidding. Yeah, absolutely. Um, everybody gets the same deal and everyone gets the same opportunity. So it's not like mods get a chance to bid before other people do. It's the same timing for everybody. So Malachi's Madhouse says, I understand the benefits of them. Just when it comes to bidding, seems sketchy to me, but I'm still learning too. So let me talk about auction rules. So if you were in an auction house, if you were at my auction or you were at another auction house watching a live bidding, unless you're at like a Sotheby's or something, okay? If you're at your average homegrown local auction house, auctioneer rules are that staff are allowed to bid on things. They can bid on items during a live auction. I can't say sold for them if someone else is willing to bid against them. So, yeah, they've had a chance to look at everything beforehand, but then there's always a preview for at a live auction. So, there's not a great advantage. They just bid at the same time as everybody else. So, when I do my live auctions, there is no law in Canada, at least. There is no law that says that someone who is working at an auction can't also bid on the auction. Again, high-end art auctions where it's like thousands and tens of thousands and millions of dollars. Typically, the people who work in those auctions cannot afford to buy that stuff anyways, and they would just put in a pre-bid. If they were interested in something, they would put in a pre-bid. The auctioneer would just have a piece of paper that says this is what the pre-bid is, and they would bid on behalf of that person up to the maximum that that person put down. So that's how it works in like high-end art and antique auctions, is that staff would put in a pre-bid instead of bidding live. um, but otherwise, there's no legal reason why a person who is actually staff. Now this is moderators or volunteers in 99.9% of whatnot shows. So from a legal standpoint, and also I think morally, I would feel bad if I moderated someone and then said you can't bid on this item that you really like. And also, it tends to be honest, it tends to be that the people that come into my shows and my friends and the people that I trust has a similar taste to me. So they're going to want the stuff that I'm selling, and I know them better too. Um do, 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 do. um Dave from Alberta says I wouldn't be able to buy in most of my shows. Maybe it's a good idea. Hi Ben, Brenda, how are you? Um Living the dream. Hello. Shaylee. I hope I'm saying that right. Or Shalia. I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me. Malachi says employees are different than a person you met online and deemed safe to help. Yes. But again, the I think yeah, I just think that if I was saying I'll only sell to Sassy, or I'm gonna run this for Sassy for just $5, nobody bid, that would be that would be wrong, right? That would be wrong. But if I said the Sassy Vintage Chick has asked that I put up my glasses next, so I'm gonna run my glasses starting at $5. The Sassy's in at $5. Oh, Emmy just outbid, right? Ebox Fung, hello, how are you? And NRD Collects, what's up? Cactus Chaos, good morning. And Ella, good morning. Emmy says, I'm in New Brunswick, and for a while my shipping, including Canadian shows, has been expensive, $20 to $25. Seems people are paying half for domestic buys. Um, what do you mean? Hey, good morning, Laughter Hugs. How are you, hon? I love you. Um, yeah, ethical is important. Ethical is important. I know it's not perfect system. Build a community and we can look out for each other. Yeah, exactly. So it's like if I started saying that if you're going to moderate, you wouldn't be able to bid from me, people would just not want to help. Period. And then you're stuck, right? Like if there's a situation and you need help, you wouldn't be able to. Dave could say, "I'll moderate because I don't want to buy anything," and then it's like, Kim, can you unmoderate me, please? I no longer want to be a moderator because I really want that thing that's coming up next. It would be, yeah. And as Millicent makes a good point, it's social selling. It's going to get tricky when you combine social etiquette and rules, and there are no friends at an auction. Yes, very true. Living the Dreams 2025 says the only time that an auction item can be for just one person is when the seller has bundled your items until the end of the show. Correct. Well, no, living the dream. So if you put it as a buy it, so if you bundle for somebody because nobody else was interested in the items, so you're selling the items in a bundle box, what I do is I'll say, okay, I've got this bundle. Here's everything that's in it. I'm going to run it now. This is what Living the Dream picked out. This is the bundle box. But if suddenly the Sassy Vintage Chick is like, oh, that's a good bundle and that's a good deal, I'm going to bid against it. Every right to. Every right to legally to bid against it. So if somebody, and let's face it, this isn't a charity. This is not a charity program. We're trying to make some money or at least break even. So if somebody is willing to pay more than what you're willing to pay for that bundle box, Most of the time, other people just won't bid, but legally perfectly able to bid against a bundle box if you think that that bundle is something that you want, in my humble opinion. Laughter Hug says, I believe a mod should be able to mod and buy. Yeah. Um, and Malachi says, especially if you want the same. Yeah. It's the Sassy says it's nice to not bid or buy it, but technically it's free game. Yes, absolutely. Amy says, I was in a Lego show from Quebec. People from Manitoba paying about $9 for small, tiny Lego shipping. For me in New Brunswick, it was $20 shipping. So it's where you are located, Emmy, in so yeah, because like for example, I live in Ontario, and if I send to somebody who lives on Vancouver Island, where they live on Vancouver Island is just off of the beaten path, and so it's an extra charge to get that far. Um, and so it's $19.46 to send a small little item. So it all depends. So it depends on how far away plus how off the beaten track you are. So if you would live in a major city or town, then it would be less than if you lived 15 minutes outside of a major city or town. So it all is about where exactly you live, your postal code. Um Malachi's Madhouse says Chit Chat prices have jumped here too. Yeah, Chit Chats has had to adjust their prices, and that's been bumped up. So Chit Chats is because I think Dragonfly is starting to charge more, and the other third parties are starting to charge more. And I don't think that Chit Chats realized just how much volume they were going to get from Whatnot. Um, Emmy says, it's like Whatnot doesn't want me to buy here. If I don't win a givey, it's $20 for shipping the smallest item anywhere. Yeah, and if you're buying out of a US show, forget it. Like it's gonna be 20, 25, $30. I mean, the price for getting something from the US is so insanely expensive. I mean, once you get that first item, the price goes down per item. The shipping, the more you buy, the cheaper the shipping is per item. But it's that first initial cost that is real. Ooh, I mean, I was looking in some shows the other day, and it was going to be $16 was going to be, and I live in Ontario, so I'm kind of, central. Um, and it was going to be $16, but then I went to another show and it was $9. So obviously, if I'm looking at buying t-shirts, I'm going to I'm going to buy from or I'm possibly going to buy if I see something I like, I'm more likely and tempted to buy from someone who's only $9. But it's not about Whatnot. Whatnot's not making money off of your shipping. What Whatnot is doing is it calculates based on the postal code of the seller and the postal code of you how much and then they have to it's like a call to the database. So there's like double if you use Canada Post, if the seller uses Canada Post, then they have to do that calculation with the Canada Post database to say this is how much it's going to cost to deliver. And if the seller has chosen Chit Chats, and sometimes you're going to find Emmy that someone who lives fairly close, like say there's two of us who live in the Peterborough area. One of us is using Canada Post and the other is using Chit Chats. You may find that the person who's using Chit Chats is more expensive than the person who is using Canada Post. So sometimes, sorry, something in my eye. Sometimes you will find that it's cheaper, even though the person is in the same province as someone else. And it's because if you live off the beaten track, and especially in the Maritimes, Chit Chats does not have a good network in the Maritimes. They only have um, one location in Halifax, and so everything is coming out of Halifax. Whereas if it was going by Canada, so if it gets delivered by Canada Post from Chit Chats, because Chit Chats uses Canada Post for some of their final delivery, then you're paying for the delivery from say Ontario to Halifax and then Halifax to New Brunswick, and so Chit Chats is charging you extra. Whereas With Canada Post, it would just be straight through Canada Post directly from Ontario to New Brunswick with no stop through Halifax, possibly. Um, Malachi's Madhouse says taking mod applications now. There you go. IBCC Shop says some sellers threaten to kick you if you bid on something that they put aside for. Seriously, IBCC Shop, that is not okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you don't want somebody to else to get something, then you should put it in the private show later. Do a private show for that buyer and don't sell it public then. If you if you want if you're putting together something just for someone else, a private shopping thing, which you can do, you can offer private shopping. You can offer that and do a private show. You set up a private show, you send the buyer that link and they can come into that show. Only the people who have that link can come into the show. So if the buyer shares it with other people, then you can't do anything about that. Anybody who's got the link can come into your private show. So you set up a private show and then you could sell just to that person. But otherwise, if you're in a public show, then and you put it either in buy it now and someone else buys it before Millicent's does, then sorry, Millicent's, that went to somebody else. If you put it up for auction and I started at $2 and it was for Millicent's and someone else starts bidding, then if Millicent's really wants it, she's going to have to bid against that person. So if sellers say I'm going to kick you out if you bid on something because I put it aside for someone else, no, sorry. That's not in my opinion, that's not ethical. But that's just my opinion. Pac-Man girl, hello, how are you? Emmy says Whatnot thinks I live in the jungle. It's so weird. For example, I know somebody who lives near Chemainus in on Vancouver Island. They are like 15 minutes away from somebody else and their cost is a few dollars more every single time. Dave from Alberta says Chit Chats is interesting. Their prices have jumped. Chit Chats to me has doubled now and it's almost the same as Canada Post. Um, and Pac-Man Girl says some are $54 in shipping from the USA. I know. Caroline Shop, good morning. Sassy Vintage Chick says I apologize for the Americans. You don't have to apologize for the Americans. You don't have to apologize. There's like a lot of people in the United States. So there are a few horrible people. There's a few horrible people in Canada too. We all have our percentage. Most of them are in Alberta. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, Pac-Man Girl says $54 shipping from the US. It's like I look at things in US shows and Emmy points out a good point. Emmy 101 says, and then there's import taxes. Yeah, let's not even talk about tariffs and taxes and duties. Um Malachi's Madhouse says check with sellers too. Some offer pickup to bundle, then purchase a shipping label. So Malachi's Madhouse, yes, a lot of people offer that. It is an area where I caution that sellers who offer that could be risking um their whatnot account. And buyers who do that have absolutely no recourse. If they once you give that pickup code, you are saying you are telling whatnot I've already got the item. You're already saying that. So any shipping you organize off app, if anything goes wrong with that shipping, if there are any issues, you cannot go back to Whatnot and say, I want a refund because I didn't get what I ordered because you already told Whatnot that you got it, you picked it up, and you've got the stuff. So on both sides, I caution if a buyer reports you to Whatnot, technically it's like an off app transaction that you've made some you have and they could see it as you trying to like skirt fees by not doing shipping through Whatnot. So it is a risk that I would never take. um I if someone only on rare occasions would I no, I wouldn't do it at all. I just wouldn't do it. um Penelope Pick says, I was looking to buy a knife block from an American, $56 shipping. Oh my golly. Yeah. No. And interestingly, I was in it. I didn't try to bid because I was worried that I might win. But I was in an Australian show and I can't tell whether or not it doesn't say not shippable to you. But when I was in the show on my, I think I was, wait, why is this not charging? Dang it. This should be charging. Nope. Why aren't you charging? Oh dear. Hang on. We got to walk into the house and figure out why we're not charging. Because this can be an issue. So, what were we talking about? $56 for a knife block? No. I lost my train of thought because I realized we're not charging. Why are we charging? Woo! Hang on. Look at my thing and look at the junk behind me. Okay. Hello. Let's see. What the actual fork? Still not charging. Nope. Okay. Hang on, everyone. No. No, there's still power. I know there's power going there. All right, sorry. We're going to have to charge somewhere else. Charge! Gonna have to. This charging cable is not working. That's the problem. Okay. We're going to have to go into a room. We're going to have to go. We're going to walk through the house and go to a different room. Welcome to air conditioning. Okay. Over here. Hello. Point. Oh, my husband's going to complain that I unplugged his thing. Okay. Hello. Let's talk to you there. Okay. Scrolling. Sorry. Now it's charging. It's our Canadian money that is not worth much. Well, I mean, it's getting better. I wonder if I can turn on this lamp and make some. Ooh, there's some more light. I don't know if that helped. Chit Chat's delivered faster to US than Canada Post. I compared. Yeah, because Chit Chat's drives it directly to the States like the next day. All right. Oh, there's lots for me to catch up on. Everyone's talking fast. Hang on. We're gonna go slow mode for a second. Slow mode. There we go. Okay. Oops. Send. Okay. Taking mod applications down. I don't know why it scrolled me back up again. Canada Post stays in customs so long. Yes. Well, so Pac-Man Girl, Chit Chats avoids customs completely because what Chit Chats does is it puts everything into as USPS labels. Everything goes into a truck and goes in one big manifest across the border every night. Every night they have multiple transport trucks full of stuff that goes to the border. And then those transport trucks stop at, like, if you're in Ontario, they go to New York and they're offloaded there. And then at a USPS depot, basically. So you drop off at Chit Chats and it gets to Burlington, then usually that night or the next night, it will be in the United States. And so it actually doesn't clear. There is no clearing of customs in the sense of what you would normally see because Chit Chats takes it directly to USPS. That is why Chit Chats can't have anything that's made in China in those packages. And don't risk it because you're basically throwing, if one thing is found to be Like if you try to do like Lego through Chit Chats to the US, you're going to hold up the entire transport truck full. It's all going to get thrown back, and Chit Chats is getting pretty. It's a big deal for Chit Chat, so they're trying to stop that. So they may do fines and other things. Prairie Knight says, I would like to mod if anyone wants to message me. I need all the live practice I can get. Dave from Alberta says, private show. I like that idea. If only I had something that had that interesting to sell. Millicent says, I hope they don't remove the ability for bundle shows. Some shady stuff has been going on in some of those. Gotta really know a seller. You are totally right. Yes. Second, Troy, laughter hugs. No, don't be sorry about US sellers. I think, you know what? It's not like, first of all, if we're talking about shipping, not your fault at all. It's just the way things are. It's way more expensive to ship things up to Canada than it is to ship things down to the United States. Whatnot support is not equipped for handling bundle show support. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. It's the one thing is too is so here's one caution that I have about bundling. And it's only happened to me once, where one thing in the whole bundle, right? So I sell something as a bundle, and one thing in the bundle broke. They got refunded for the entire item. The entire, like, they can't say, oh, we're just going to give you a certain amount. I'm in the customer service beta, so I can say, oh, okay, so one thing in your bundle broke, so I'm going to give you a refund for $5 because that's what that was worth. And so I get to keep the rest. But if you're not in the customer service beta, which most of you who are here right now aren't, then they're just going to refund the entire thing because one thing in the bundle was broken. They're going to refund the entire thing, and that could come out of your ledger. Hi, Vintage Goods by Ruta. How are you? IBCC Shops asks, is what not going to lower the threshold for immediate payouts? I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt it. Mainly because there are some people who try and game the system with the X number of items that they sell. I've seen a lot of card sellers and that running like at a loss to purposely at an extreme loss just so they can get to that instant payout, and then being shady. I think that that's always a red flag to me. Like, why can't you just sell like normal and get that 1,000 items sold? So I don't think that they're going to do it just because there's already shady people doing stuff as it is. Calwin, how are you? Pac-Man Girl says, how are people doing shows, going to stores? How are they making any money? I'm very confused on that because I'd like to try going to stores. Okay, so you can go to stores like to do live shopping or live thrifting. Um, it all depends. I used to do if it costs, so what I used to do before when we had US when we're selling in US dollars is I would just sell it on par. So if I was paying $20 Canadian for the item, I was charging $20 US because that was like a 25 to 30% markup. Other people will say minimum of $5 and it's 50% of the item price. Others, what they do is they will go around and they won't show you how much they're going to pay, and then they'll determine a price. And they'll say, you know, this I'm going to sell this item for $25. So everybody does it a little bit differently, but you should obviously do a markup. And if you're going to a store that charges you taxes, you have to keep that in mind. So, for example, if I went to Value Village, Value Village, it's going to be another 13% on top of the price that I'm going to pay. And then you have to also think, okay, I'm paying 13% for this $10 item. And then if I sell it for like $20, I've got to pay 4% commission because Canada still has 4% commission until September. And 2.9% payment processing fee plus a 30 cents. So I got to think about that too. So I've got to keep in mind what commission I'm going to have to pay, whatnot. And then I've got to do my own margins on that. Plus, you got to think about how much is this going to cost me to, how much time, how much energy, how much bubble wrap and other packing materials that I have to pay for. Is this going to cost me to ship it out as well and add that on too. So it's not as simple. So some people just run like, I'll just add $5 onto each everything. It totally Malachi's Madhouse says it's a common practice in the card community. Yeah, I know. No one wants to pay shipping on a single card every sale, bundle them up and send at once. Yeah, I totally understand that. I totally understand. And I think that's why Whatnot's been kind of turning a blind eye. But if somebody reports you, Whatnot has to act on that. Kitten Lady Rescue says Whatnot says if a specific item is to go to a specific person, create a temporary listing with their name on it during the show. Is that in their terms of reference, or it's not terms of reference, their community guidelines, or just something that they've answered for you? Otherwise, any specific listing can go to anybody. Yeah, definitely, Malachi. Watch your purchases. You just oh my god, they avoid. Yeah, so they avoid customs. They don't totally avoid it because there's a manifest that they have to hand over. The trucker has to hand over a manifest that says what's inside. So they have a big list. So they're not avoiding customs. What they're using is the United States of America has a de minimis exemption clause for all countries except for China and Hong Kong. So as long as all the items in the boxes and no one box in there is over $800 US in value, then the de minimis exemption applies. And so that's basically what they're using in order to avoid having to have it stop and each package be gone through by customs, because the United States still has this de minimis exemption for. But if it's over $800 in value, then Chit Chat cannot accept your package, cannot deliver your package to the United States. You're going to have to switch to Canada Post. And, or if the item has anything in it from China or Hong Kong, then you'll have to use Canada Post. Now, I have heard from a lot of sellers that they've sent stuff that they, through Canada Post to the United States, that they've put the country of origin as China and their buyer has not had any tariffs. But that doesn't mean that I would tell people not to worry about tariffs. Um, Kinley Lady Rescue says I'll mod and do free logos. Oh, that's so sweet. I started my ISO a habit show. Oh, cute. Milson says, as a buyer, if you've done weekly bundling also, a refund does not give you back that many hours you spent collecting each piece. This is true as well. No, Pac-Man Girl, the de minimis exemption still applies for all countries except for China and Hong Kong. So those are the only two countries where the de minimis exemption no longer applies. However, he's threatened to change things on August 1st. So he's had a little bit of a vacay. He's gone to Scotland, and he's played some golf again. So that may change. But again, he threatened in February. He did something, then he took it back. He threatened in Japan is okay. Yes. As long as the country is not China or Hong Kong, it is okay. It's just China and Hong Kong right now. Every other country. Someone has asked me Vietnam. Vietnam is not China or Hong Kong. So it's okay. Korea also, not China or Hong Kong. Just because they're in Asia doesn't mean that they're Chinese or from Hong Kong. So, and it doesn't matter the age of the item. The item could be 5,000 years old or 5 days old. If it's made in China or Hong Kong, the de minimis exemption does not apply. Doesn't matter. So a Ming vase, well, it wouldn't be under $800 in value. A chip of a Ming vase would be made in China. So, yeah. But if you're a handcraft, if you do handcrafts and you make stuff, and some of it is made in, if some of it is made in China, but you've taken a few beads and some of the beads are made in China, and then you've turned it into a gorgeous necklace. The necklace is made in Canada because it's been significantly changed and put together to make something else. So then it's made in Canada. Then you don't have to say it's made. The pieces are made in China. Pac-Man Girl says, "Is Chit Chats insured?" Chit Chats does have some insurance, yes, and Whatnot has insurance. Assembled in Canada, if it was made by artistry, so if you artistically changed it, then it's not just assembled. It's not a car. If it's like jewelry, if it's art, art is jewelry. Jewelry is art. Um, so if it's different. Why can you only choose one country of origin for okay, so yeah, if you do bundles, um, that is something they haven't figured out yet. So just make sure that nothing in that bundle is made in China or Hong Kong. If you're doing bundles of items that are from different countries, then pick the country where the most expensive thing is from, or where the majority of things are from. Yes, Canada Post automatically applies just a $100 value, insured value. Whatnot does have its own. If you're concerned about something, if you're selling things that are high end, I suggest you that you send it. You oh, my brain has just farted out. That you message Whatnot support to ask them about insurance for items that are of high value. Okay. Let me just check here. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Malachi's Madhouse says, "Does Whatnot have a co-host option?" Yes, yes, it does. And Milson says it's not as good as TikToks. No, it's not the same as TikToks, and you can Whatnot you can co-host, but you're the person that you bring into your show cannot sell items out of their store, run items, and receive the money themselves. The Thrifty Fox Shop and Thrifting with ADHD did a co-host show, and they were really smart. They each took turns, but Thrifting with ADHD wasn't the host; she was the co-host. And so what she did was she put things in her Buy It Now in her store that people could buy. So what happens is that Thrifty Fox Shop would run something, and then and person would win, and then the Thrifting with ADHD would say, "I have this item, it's now in my Buy It Now in my store if you want to get it." And so then people could go to her profile and buy from her profile, and it worked out really well, actually. It just took some time to explain it to people, and then it worked really well. Peacock says for if you have a bundle and you have multiple stuff in it, she just wrote in penned under the declaration adding US and Italy. Yeah, that works too. That helps. Two Montreal chicks, hi. Dave from Alberta asked, "Does Whatnot support actually read emails?" All emails? I don't think that all emails are read by a human first. I think they are scanned by AI, and you often will get a response that seems very AI, or people are robots. I think that so sometimes you're going to get an answer that doesn't seem to make sense based on your context, and it may just because of a few keywords that are in your email. So I think that there's a little bit of AI going on, but I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but I feel like sometimes when I send messages to Whatnot support, I have to push back like I'm talking to Chat GPT. Like, no, that's not what I asked. What I mean is this. Let me clarify again and repeat what I asked. So always make sure that you say, no, that's not what I asked. And here again is what I asked, and something that clarifies it. And then it will usually get bumped. I find that then I get a human answer, usually. So, Dave from Alberta says, "I sent an email with all the troubleshooting I had done, including a screenshot of the issue. They replied asking me to do those things and send a screenshot. I somehow didn't swear." Yeah, I usually do swear under my breath. Not that anyone can hear me because I'm reading an email. So, yeah, just repeat yourself and say, "Yeah, thank you. If you read my message, you would see that I did those things. And here again is the screenshot that I sent you previously." So, dear Whatnot, your AI, if you are using an AI tool, like I think you are, to screen your support emails because you get so many, your screening ain't going so well. And people are You need to train your AI better. If it's actually humans that are responding like that, then you need to train your humans better. Either way, somebody's got to get retrained because it is annoying. And that, let's face it, a lot of people will just rage quit the app because they get frustrated when they don't get the answer they need. That doesn't feel like they're talking to a human. Um, they'll just get frustrated and rage quit. And yes, I get it. I get the cons. So here's one thing: is sometimes you have to do extra work and you have to accept that there's some frustration until you get to a human, and you need to be calm, cool, and collected and just get through it. And I understand that it's frustrating, but people who quit aren't probably going to be successful on the app anyways, because if you can't be patient with a robot, you're not going to be patient with your buyers. So, because they you get a lot of dumb questions and a lot of annoyance with buyers too. I love all my buyers, but sometimes not. You know what I mean? There are some times when you just kind of wonder. Um, Pac-Man Girl says, "Well, what if I have two things from China and the rest of the items are not in my bundles? If you have two things from China, you need to declare those items as being from China." Um, and that then you need to make sure you country of origin is China, because the whole entire bundle is going to get tariffed, and so it cannot go by chit chat. So make sure that you put country of origin is China, and then you can write like Peacock Jewelry did, more details on the form if it prints out a form. But you shouldn't use chit chats at all. If you have selected chit chats and you do have something that's made in China that's going to go to the US, then make sure that you message support with the order numbers and ask them to switch from a chit chats label to a Canada Post label. It may eat up one of your adjustments if the price is going to be higher. Manda Panda 2349, how are you? Malachi's Madhouse, is that why raid back and forth shows I've seen? Could be, yes. There are some sellers who do that kind of like, I'm gonna raid and then I'm gonna go back live thing. They're big sellers usually who are trying to like support smaller sellers. But the thing about that support of like, everybody go into this show and support this person and then come back to me because I'm gonna go live again, how are you really supporting that person if you're going to go live and people know that like, I'm just going to stay in this show for 5 minutes or 10 minutes because that person's going to be back? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think rating back and forth, like if it was just two sellers rating back and forth to each other, what a lot of time spent. um it would be nice if one day um it would be nice if one day they could make it so co-hosts could co-sell in the same way. I have seen some really cool shows, although one of them was like chaotic because there were two people in the same antique market selling things in different sections of the antique market, and they were basically like talking over each other and then running things over top like one after the other. So one guy was in like a Pokemon card section selling stuff, and he's talking to his people while she was talking to other people who were interested in like vintage decor. It was the like craziest show, and I suffered through it because I really wanted to see if this actually worked, and it was working. There are people who stayed in and liked it. I couldn't I couldn't stay for very long because it just was too chaotic for me personally. But again, there is somebody out there for just about every type of show, even weird shows where people are doing weird things. Um, Milson says at one point they gave me two options to resolve an issue. I chose the option and they did the sorry, Millicent. Malachi says the two sellers raided back and forth to each other for hours. I mean, that's like dedication to do that. That's like high. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing against terms of service. The only thing is that when you raid, you end your show. So are they like restarting the same show? because they would then have to go in and restart their show, because technically you ended your show when you rated into somebody else. But if, because otherwise it's not going to bundle, right? Like the items aren't going to bundle if it's a new show, which I think Whatnot is considering the option at some point, because a lot of us have asked for it over the years. So maybe it's on the table. I don't know, but we have asked Dear Whatnot. It would be great if, like, I did 5 shows today, and if Malachi bought from me in each of those 5 shows, it would keep bundling and making one box, because it's easier for me anyways to just put one box together. Um, I think a lot of sellers would be more willing to do multiple shows, and more buyers would be willing to buy out of a seller that did multiple shows in a day if that was possible. Thank you. That's it for now for my requests. Until somebody else says something that I also think, Dear Whatnot, we should do that as well. Penelope Pick says, I think it sometimes take a couple of emails to get a human that will be helpful. Yep, yep. Um, Peacock Joey says, I got 14 AI responses once about one issue that she had. Then you emailed back and said, I figured it out myself. And they sent an email saying how glad they were that they could help me. I get that all the time. It's their standard response. Like, so glad you could help. Please rate our how well we've been able to help you. To be honest, I do not go in and like rate it negatively, just in case it actually was a human who just didn't get what I was trying to say. Um, Sassy Vintage Chick, you're right. Yeah, creative ways to sell and keep a room. Sometimes you got to do something fun. Chantel says definitely the support is initial support is AI. I've only reached out to Whatnot twice and got instant refund response that seemed very automated. Dave, no, you can't CC that person because he actually doesn't. He's moved on to another department. So we love him, but he's moved on. So he's not in charge of Canada anymore. I shouldn't say in charge, helping out Canada. So no, you can't. You could. It just wouldn't be very helpful. And I think actually he's probably changed his email to something else just because he gets a lot of sellers just think they can message him and ask questions. Yeah, nobody got time for that. Yeah, there's other thing he has to work on. Kitten Lady Rescue says, after all the things that I've said to them, I'm shocked that I'm still allowed on this stuff. Peacock Joy says the AI took credit for resolving my problem when I gave up. Yeah, I know, that's so funny. Millicent says it's concerning to have so many buyers experience that they will also rage quit. Absolutely, yes. So it's one thing if you're a seller and you're frustrated, but yeah, you're totally right, Millicent. Buyers get frustrated really fast, and they're just going to be like, I'm not going to use this app because when I tried to get help, I couldn't get help. So and there has to be more emphasis, sorry, sellers, but there has to be more emphasis on getting buyers an answer that makes sense quickly. Hi, Pickles. How are you? Um, Penelope Pick says, if you're a seller, supporting your buyer if they have an issue can save them from completely leaving. You're absolutely right. Hey, Bella, how are you? Pac-Man Girl says, when is your next show to buy off of you? Probably tomorrow. I don't know. After this, I've got a ton of community work to do. I have some issues to fix with my live auction, so I can do seller reports and everything and figure out how much money we lost. I lost, not my consigners. So I need to do that, and so I'm not going to be able to do my Western wear show. It's probably going to be in a couple of days because I want to measure everything and take lots of pictures of beforehand. So I might actually move the Western wear to next week. Malachi's Madhouse says, so this is interesting. This is this idea of co-hosting, but by rating back and forth into each other. Malachi says it was longer intervals selling on their turn. So like 20 minutes each, 30 minutes each. Was it something like that? Pac-Man Girl asks, how long did it take for you to sell 1,000 items? Just over a year. But I wasn't. I was a very intermittent seller on Whatnot. So, but I did a lot of little raid trains here and there. So, Yeah. So it took me just over a year. Other people, they can do it in like a month. It just depends on how often you sell, and how much, obviously, how much you're selling, but how often you sell. So if you can sell 50 items a show, you can do the math. And if you do a show every day and you can sell 50 items. Now, I can't do that because I don't have the capacity to ship out that much that fast. Um, I would like to, maybe one day, but definitely not today. Peacock Joy asks, another bad raid last night. Never listened to someone's raid suggestion. She raided into someone, and that woman I raided into needs an extra explicit warning. Oh dear, that's part of your is it was that at night because and Babe Bella says that's why I'm scared to raid into someone I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes you'll know I'll say okay, like we're about to raid into this person. I have no idea. I'll like warn you. I'll be like, I've never been in with them before. I have no idea. So hold on. Yes, you never know. So Millicent says, yes, you can restart up to 2 hours after you've ended, even when you raid. So many people do not know how to do it. Yeah, you have to go into seller.whatnot.com where you can select restart show. Dear Whatnot, it would be awesome if that feature was on the app too. Um, oh, Peacock says it was worse than the raid when the seller was just told that her cat was dead. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. You haven't had good luck with raids. It sounds like. Um. Oh, that is interesting. Both stayed live. Did they do like a manual raid? Like, so if I say, okay, everybody go into Living the Dream 2025 now, and then I announce it, and then you the people then go over to that profile. Is that what they were doing as opposed to raid now? They must have been, were they doing a manual raid? Um, Sassy Vintage Chick says, when you self checkout at the Walmart, you have to rate yourself. Yeah, that's basically what it's like. 500 plus people in the show, back and forth for the entire show. That is insane. New notes on algorithm and making super fans in my shop. Ooh, very interesting. Um, Millicent says, if anybody needs help knowing how to restart without losing buyers' shipping investment, just message me and I will send you a screenshot. Babe Ella says, what are your thoughts on a place where people can put what they're looking for, like an ISO in search of? Uh, I think it's a great idea. I've seen it in the past on Whatnot with American sellers. I haven't seen much where it actually, I like, it doesn't seem like it actually gets used much. Like I mean, I put on OMGYG. She used to have on her website an in search of thing, and I put on that I was looking for, um, and I still am. I'm looking for vintage, made in Japan, cute little nuns playing baseball. And there's a few of them out there. Obviously, I want to pay. I want to get a bargain if I can, and now I don't buy in the U.S. Um, so I'm just trying to catch up. Sorry. Oh, so she still has it up there. Yeah. So I found that so I mean I think it's great, but I haven't noticed, to be like, I put something on, I haven't had, the only message I got was from my friend Kylie, but she also had a show where she did an in search of show for a while there. She was doing an in search of show with Ken, and it didn't really translate into sales. She sent me some, she found some and sent them to me because she loves me and I love her. Um Penelope says, I just have to say these shows are so helpful. Everyone is lovely. Isn't everyone great here? I love everybody. You guys are awesome. Joss is back. Isabella, BC. Are you in the British Columbia? Um, Baybella says, I'm so happy sitting here finally so I can watch you again. Been on the move lately. Ooh, what have you been doing? Um, Isabella BC says, I did 1K in 5 days. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, if you push it, you can do 1,000 sales very quickly. Pac-Man Girl says, if I'm selling bundles, is there any way to count each item towards my 1,000 sales? Nope. Or each bundle will always count as one item. Each bundle will always count as one item. Yeah, but on the road, so pushing for 1,000 sales is is a good goal. But if you're always focused on that instead of doing good customer service, and so you say, I'm not going to bundle this because I want to get to 1,000 sales, you're not doing good customer service, in my opinion. Either you don't bundle at all and just make it a policy, I don't bundle, but don't tell people it's because you're going for 1,000 sales, because that just sounds selfish. Sorry. Because you're also, if you bundle, I want you to think about bundling this way: bundling saves you money. If you're a small seller, it is going to take you a while to get to 1,000 sales, anyways. Why not make money in the meantime? If you have a regular show on a regular basis, you're going to make a regular income. It's going to start to build. And once you get regular for a while and consistent, you're going to see consistent sales numbers most of the time. So, bundling. So, say you have 10 things that you put in a bundle. If you had sold those things individually, you would have had to pay a payment processing fee of 30 cents for each one of those. That's $3. But if you bundle it into one bundle, you are only paying 30 cents. So that's $2.70 that you've saved. $2.70 over 10 times, 10 bundles. That is $27. That's a lot of money that can go a lot of places and pay for a lot of groceries. If you, no, not a lot of groceries anymore, but anyways, it'll pay for groceries. It'll feed you, or it'll help pay your internet bill, or it will go a long way. So I say, don't worry about 1,000 sales, worry about making good sales and having good customer service. And if somebody asks you to bundle and you're willing to do it, you can say, I don't bundle. Sorry, I don't bundle, period. But don't say it's because you're going for 1,000. But bundling will save you money. Pac-Man Girl says, if I unbundle the items, we can't unbundle. If you've sold something as one item, you can't unbundle a bundle. It's not like if you unbundle a shipment. So if a buyer buys 10 things, but five of those things will only fit into one box and you want to have the other five things in another box, then you unbundle that shipment. That's different from selling a box of items. Um, so, um, Kid Lady Rescue, what are you doing that now? Sorry. It'll only cost you a kidney. Okay, I have to catch up here. Clearing estates. I am Baybella is clearing estates. I'm working with three separate ladies and still buying lockers. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Pac-Man Girl says I sell 8 items for $40. So yeah, I mean the other thing is too is Pac-Man Girl. I'm wondering if you personally would sell more if you were selling the stuff individually and then offering to do bundles as an alternative. So you say, I'm going to run this for, so 8 items, that's $5 each, right? So run items for $5. And then if the item doesn't sell for $5, the person can say B for bundle. And then you set aside a box for them. And then once they've got their box of stuff, then you can weigh it and then do a temporary listing for those items. So if they buy 10 items, then that would be $50. You could offer to do bundling that way. But sometimes people come into shows and they don't want to try and figure out the 8 items. They want to see individually. Do you know what I mean? So it might be better for you to run first for $5, start bid, and some people will just bid that way. They'll prefer that. You might find that you will get a little bit more sales. Penelope Picks asks, what's the perk of 1,000 sales? The perk of 1,000 sales is that you get instant payout. So instead of waiting a couple of days after the item arrives, as soon as you've hit generate label and the label gets generated, you will get paid out for that item. But Whatnot trusts you because you've already made 1,000 sales. So you've had 1,000 other items that you've sold previously. So they trust you now to actually follow through. If you like generate the label and then you don't ship the item, you will lose your payout. Customers are number one. Yes, and it does sound tacky. Okay. Little Squirrel 506 says probably would have hit my 1K sales now, but my buyers like the bundling, so I focus on that more as they keep me going. Yeah, I mean, if they would prefer bundling and that works with who you sell to, especially since Little Squirrel's in New Brunswick and a lot of our buyers in Canada are like on the West Coast. I love you guys on the West Coast. You're awesome. So that's bundling works better for them. Millicent says, and it saves your buyers money so they have more money to spend with you. Yes. Baybella says, silly question. If I do an international giveaway, can Canadians use gift cards I buy in the US like Visa or Amazon? So, yeah, that basically, like, if it was an Amazon thing, and you enter that, Amazon may force you to um, go in and did I just get raided? Because I see yes, Draz. Oh my gosh, Draz, thank you so much for the raid. We need like a thing that pops up. Thank you for the raid. I all of a sudden saw all these people. Hi, welcome in everybody. Everyone, please follow Draz. Thank you, Millicent. How is everyone doing? Feel free to share your shows and ask your questions. We're talking right now about we're talking about a lot of things. We're talking right now about international giveaways. So one of the things that Baybella asked if I do an international giveaways, can Canadians use a gift cards if I buy in the US like Visa or Amazon? So yes, we just kind of sometimes have to go through hoops. But I would caution Baybella that if you do an international giveaway, you could be paying like $20 to ship that like $10 Visa or $20 Amazon card. So in my humble opinion as a Canadian, um, unless you're a big seller, don't do international giveaways. We Canadians will be okay. We will suck it up, Buttercup. So don't do international giveaways unless you are required to by the raid train that you're in, or you really want to possibly um, spend that much money to ship something up to Canada. Because you remember, the seller pays the shipping. The buyer pays the winner of the giveaway pays absolutely nothing, zero. It does break their shipping, so they might buy from you, but the metrics show usually that a person who wins a giveaway doesn't necessarily purchase anything from you. JM Hockey Maniacs, how are you? Shauna's Treasures and Art, hello, how are you? Shauna, you can start selling lobsters on Whatnot. It's in the rules for animals now that lobsters are allowed to be sold. I don't like selling items low, but sometimes I just want to move things, says Peacock Jewelry. Yeah, absolutely. Faster sales, lower margins. It's the reason why Walmart's successful. It's why Home Depot's successful. All these big box stores, lower margin, higher volume. Malachi says most U.S. sellers don't allow Canadians to participate in giveaways. Yeah, most U.S. sellers can't afford to spend like $19-$20 U.S. Shipping up to us. A Visa isn't against terms of service. If it's like a gift card, it's basically a gift card. So like Amazon and that sort of thing. I've seen a lot of people giving away Visa cards and that. So it's not against terms of service. You just have to make sure you send something physically. You have to ship something out. And Pac-Man Girl, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not worried about 1,000 sales. I'm just asking my customers are more important than 1,000 sales. Yes, absolutely. Malachi says, I used to do giveaways on TT. I only had issues with V-Bucks cards on PlayStation. That's interesting. Pac-Man Girl says, I don't do auctions. I do scan and find shows. And if that works for you, carry on. Whatever works. If it doesn't feel like it's working, then you can switch it up and try something else. Oh, Baybella says, I can't afford to do international giveaways often, but I want to do a $50 giveaway when I hit 5K. And since Canadians supported me, I want to make sure that I include them too. That is so sweet, Baybella. You are awesome. Um, and yeah, Malachi's Madhouse says, I would check with the Visa or Amazon customer service. Okay, I'm catching up with everybody. Welcome in everybody who came in with Draz. Sorry, I'm catching up now. Vanessa, Coach Constance, Faith Vintage Crafting, Trish, Fragmented Artist, Sunshine Vintage Style. Who else is in here? Bertaz, Mercenary. Like, ooh, I like that name. Lisa by Design Studio. Hi, how are you? Kin Lady Rescue says everyone is so fixated on that 1,000 items that they forget to make money on the things they're selling. This is true. Millicent says Draz is rocking a perfect 5.0 rating and 1 day shipping. Thank you for the rate. Everyone check them out. Yes, please do. An amazing team. And Dana has so much valuable information. You got to check out her shows. She does awesome chat shows as well. Pac-Man Girl says, I never have enough people in my show to do an auction of individual items, so I just scan my stuff and people pick 8 items. If that works for you, great. I would say that if you have one person in your show, then that's enough people to do an auction. You don't need to have, if you're already willing to give it away or sell it for five, I shouldn't say give it away. If you're willing to sell it for $5, then if they're the only one that bid on $5, then you're fine, right? As long as your start bid you're comfortable with, which you are because you're doing $40 for 8 items. So I would say one person in your show is enough to do an auction. You don't have to have like 40, 50, 60 people in a show or even 10 people in a show to do an auction. One person is enough. And sometimes just running the item to show it a little bit more helps. I know some people love scan shows, and so what you're going to get is people who love scan shows. I personally find that majority of people don't like scan shows. They want you to touch and run. Also, if you run auctions, it boosts you in the algorithm. So that's another reason that even if the person isn't going to bid, that you run an auction. So scan some items, but pick something up and just run it quickly. That would be my suggestion. Again, you do you. Alabama Matthew does the exact same thing. So works for Alabama Matthew. Millicent says, I've loved everything I've ordered from Draz. Fantastic fabric. And don't forget your saltwater taffy. Mine was sugar-free and excellent. Woo! Baybella is doing her 1K celebration, so I'm okay with paying the extra cost this time. You are awesome. Pac-Man Girl says, I give thank you gifts in every box instead of giveaways because shipping is paid for always. Yeah, that's totally something you can do. Fragmented Artist says live collage demo Friday at 9 p.m. Oh, Monday, Friday at 9 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. Fragmented Artist. I assume that was M for Monday. That's exciting. Everyone check out Fragmented Artist. It can't be a preloaded cash card. Yes, that's right. Can't do the equivalent of cash. Nietzsche, hello. It is a cool idea. Peacock Joey says, I care about getting to 1,000 sales, but doesn't mean I don't think my customers are more important. Yeah, absolutely. Fragmented Artists, live lobsters can be sold under the it's in their new animal policy. They have an animal policy because unfortunately, because of the pet section, people come in and actually try to sell dogs and stuff, which you're not allowed to do. But fish, coral, lobster is on the list as being live lobster is allowed to be sold now. But not I assume not as a pet. I assume not as a pet. But lobster is on there. Clearly the lobster there must be folks, I don't know, I haven't looked it up to see if there's anybody in the States is selling lobster, but last week we were reading the new policy and it says lobster. And if you don't know, Shauna's Treasures in Art is a seller on here who also is a fisherwoman. She and her family have a fishing business as well, and so including her art that she does and the awesome finds that she sells. She also takes us on fishing trips, live fishing trips, so bass fishing, and she's a lobster fisherman as well. So she has lobster that she could actually be selling on Whatnot, although I guess you'd have to figure out the shipment of that. I don't know if it could go across the states. That'd be the only thing. Peacock Joy says 1,000. Hi, Lisa. 1,000 sales is just another goal to achieve. Why not have goals? Goals are important. Goals are very important. And I took my phone. My phone is not there. But if you look in my resources, there's one of my listings on there is resources. I'm way behind in the chat, aren't I? Holy cow. Thank you, Draz, again for the raid. Pac-Man Girl says running items boosts the algorithm. Oh, sorry. Millicent says to Pac-Man Girl, running items boosts the algorithms and sends more people to your shows. Yeah, even if they're not going to buy. Is it better to have every item selling in the bin? Ask Coach Constance. So like every item in your buy it now. No, so there's so many different ways to whatnot. You can auction items and just auction items. You can have auction items and you can have stuff in your buy it now. I recommend always having a few things in your buy it now. I don't today, but have a few things in your buy it now because then people can shop for that. I got kicked out here. I'm trying to. Sorry. Now I have to go back. So a lot of people do run just buy it now shows, and that's why Whatnot's changed up how you can select the different ways that you want to Whatnot. So you can do surprise sets, or you could do auction, or you could do buy it now. I like the combination of auction and buy it now, but a lot of people will do buy it now only. And I think that works well for a lot of people too. So it just totally depends on your style and what you feel the most comfortable with. Do what feels comfortable to you. And if something isn't working, change it up and see if there's running it a different way would work best. CCXXCC, welcome in. Francois, welcome in. Peacock Joy says, scan quickly, run constantly is what I prefer. Babella says, yeah, okay. Kitten Lady Rescue says, run, 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 chat, 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 use key lines in my notes, share the show. Yeah, absolutely. Little Squirrel 506 says, new goodies show on Saturday, August 2nd. Lots of new jewels. Ooh, everyone check out Little Squirrel. She always says amazing stuff. Yes, and Millicent's mentioned Green 13 does these really great Saturday chat shows. Jeremy from Green 13 does awesome chat shows that you have to check out because he's always got like really good business insights. And I mean, he's got his opinions. And what I love about it is that people come in and also share their opinions. So you get a lot of different views. And it's not like, there is no one right way to Whatnot. So just because something works for someone else doesn't mean that it's going to work for you and vice versa. So you need to first of all, find your fun. I think that's really important is figure out how to make this fun so that it's easier. When things don't go right, you can say at least, like if you don't have a great sales day, you can at least say I had some fun. So find your fun, find what makes it fun for you. If you hate all the stuff that you're selling, it's going to come across, right? So like find your fun, find the things that make you enjoy the experience of selling. And then on top of it, sorry, I didn't realize my stupid fan was in the background. And then on top of it, find what works for you, what rhythm you like. Do you like doing auctions? Do you like doing scan shows? Do you like doing combination? Do you like doing bundles? Do you not like doing bundles? Do you want to run things out of your buy it now? Do you want to do flash sales? There are so many different ways to Whatnot now that no way is the absolute right way. Hang on, let me see if I can. There, we're just gonna move me. That works better. Yeah, we're moving me. Okay. Let's see. We got someone in Dallas last week. Oh yes, you did. You caught someone in Dallas who was not doing the right thing. Okay, so let me catch up here. Sorry. For all new people, please consider joining the Family Fashion Raid Train August 17th. Message Angie's This and That for a link. It's always a really fun day. Shauna's Church's Art says, I pet my lobsters. Malachi says, walk into the pot of hot water. I would have to look into and see how it's even shipped, says Shauna's Treasures and Art. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, if I remember from Halifax, they put, like, dry ice into, like, a it would be an expense. It would definitely be expensive lobster, as it should be anyways. Yeah. So I'm not so Kitten Lady Rescue and a few other people saw a show um last week where somebody was trying to sell dogs, puppies on whatnot, and the guy, the guy just didn't seem to care. He had mom tied up on a chain with no water, and he's in the Dallas area and in Texas because of the heat. I realized it's because of your heat. Like I don't get the heat that you guys get, so it's because of your heat. You can't tie dogs up outside because they could die from the heat alone. So you can't do that. So the mom was tied up on a chain with no water and showed her papers with his name and address on it. So Kitten Lady Rescue and others were able to contact the Dallas SPCA and get him get those dogs saved from him. Peacock Joy is making some awesome lobster jokes right now. Like when you take your lobster for a walk, his pet lobsters, and they start fighting each other. It's hard to train a lobster to sit, stay, roll over. Play dead is easy, but you have to boil them first. Fragment Artist says in profiles it says sold. Is that sold by quantity, money, or quantity? Quantity. Number of items sold would be quantity. They don't show you, won't show you the dollars. Pac-Man Girl says my jewelry show tomorrow, and all my jewelry is free. Only auction on the jewelry box, and all the free pieces of 20 pieces of jewelry comes with the jewelry box. That's kind of cool. Coach Constant says first community show today about dating and relationship talk for whatnot sellers and buyers. Woo, what time? Grand opening show coming up too. That sounds interesting, Coach Constance. Please bookmark. Want to bargain. Sorry, any Canadian seller that does clothing sales, they wouldn't mind sharing if they use whatnot's 1 to 2 pound shipping, and if they run into problems or not. Okay, so I think you mean adjustments. Want to bargains? Are you getting into adjustments? Um, because of the size of your package is over 15 centimeters in any one direction. That's usually where it is. So 1 to 2 pounds if you're within the weight, but your box or your package, your bundle is heavy. Because if you're selling clothes, and a lot of people put them in poly mailers, if it's over the weight, then you're going to have a shipping adjustment. But if it's also oversized, and 1 to 2 pounds is um is usually a safe bet if you're closer to the 1 pound than the 2 pounds. But if you weigh your t-shirt or whatever, and it is within that 1 to 2 pounds, and you know by the time you wrap it up and everything that it's going to be more like closer to the 2 pound than the 1 pound, I would put it in 2 to 3 pounds. And Angie's This and That has a fashion raid train August 17th. So if you're interested in joining a raid train, Canadian raid train, Wanna Bargains, you should check her out. Lisa by Design Studio. You just suffered through 3 of my shows. Um, um, Living the Dream says, is there a way you can share your show to a group of people, or do you have to message every single person individually? So technically, you can create a group chat on Whatnot Living the Dream, but I would caution about that. A lot of people get really upset when they get grouped to be told about shows. Um, so to be honest, there's a lot of times people will message me and they'll just share their show and they won't say anything like, I'm having a show today. If you're available, please come. Or I've got something really cute that you might like. That kind of message. If it's just your show, I will open it and then I will close it. And I most of the time I won't bookmark unless you said something to me. And I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to come to the show. So I would caution that you could get reported for spamming if you use the group message feature um, to just share your shows. But if you want to create a group message with a few people that you know like the same thing, you could call it like, jewelry. You can, because you on your laptop, I think, and on iPhone, you can change the title of the group, so it's just not everybody's group name, but it could be like Canadian Jewelry Lovers or something like that. So you could do something like that, and then share your shows, and then other people could also share their shows. but I would just caution about using the share your show to just message people at all. Use it very carefully because Whatnot does have a policy against spamming. Babe Ella says, I have a crazy vintage Christmas show today at 4 Central. Ooh, that sounds exciting. Oh, I hate when it does that and it bumps me, so I have to scroll back. It's for one of the estates I'm clearing. You don't want to miss it. Oh, that sounds exciting. So Android now you can do multiple people at once, but you can't rename the show. Kinley Rescue says, after a show, I do a group message. I can share there, but better to tag people in your show. Yes, you can tag people in your show before your show even starts. You can tag people on the and in your show chat, and they will get a message and you can just say, "Hey, guess what, Pac-Man Girl, I'm having a show." Millicent says, if you keep an email list, you could send a link or share on your social media. Group messaging is kind of frowned upon as spam. Yes, thank you. Yes. Yes, I'm happy the dogs got rescued, so thank you, Kitten Lady Rescue, for that. Today at 3:13 p.m. Eastern, community dating and relationship show. All welcome. Check out Coach Constance. Babe Ella says, I'd rather be tagged in a show than shared through a message. And Lisa's by Design is just listening while I do my cleaning job. Awesome. I love that when people listen in while they do other things. And I often do that. I'll just have Whatnot on in the background while I'm working on other things. But to be honest, my brain now, the way my brain works, I don't know if it's because of my age, but I often have to like turn the volume off in order to like write things, because otherwise I lose my train of thought. Like now. Like now. Pac-Man Girl has a bag show today and tomorrow. Buy one bag, get one free, and you choose your bags. Oh, so like 2 bags for one price. Out and About Vintage. Hi, quick question. Where do you find to accept an offer? I have an offer on something and I cannot accept it because I can't find where to do it. So if it's in the show, then you can go up at the top of the chat. It will show you that often. Or if you go to seller.whatnot.com, oh there, Bella answered it. Go to Sellers Hub and there's a button for offers. Yeah. So how do you tag someone? Just put at and then their name, Pac-Man Girl. I'm scrolling back up again. Sarsaparilla. Hi, Sarsaparilla. Is there a way to see who has bookmarked your show? No, you can't see who has bookmarked your show. Whatnot will sometimes send you a message and say, Babe Bella and Pac-Man Girl have and 20 others have bookmarked your show, to kind of like remind you that you've got a show coming up. They'll do those kind of messages. I see those all the time. Will King, what's up? Amanda's Little Bit of Everything. How are you? Penelope Picks has a women's clothing show Friday at 12 p.m. Pac-Man Girl says, I usually share my show. Coach Constance, when tagging in show, is it better to red chat it? No, don't red chat it. Do people get annoyed if they're tagged? It depends on the person. Like I would say, so if I get tagged in a show and I see that it's like Millicent's, Pac-Man Girl, Babe Bella, the Red Rooster, come check this out. Depends on the person whether I will come in. Because if I know that it's just them like just doing a message to tag a whole bunch of people, I tend to come in if someone says the Red Rooster, there's something here that you would like, or the Red Rooster, there's a chicken thing. That's when I'll pop in, or if someone's saying the Red Rooster could help with that. Sometimes if I'm available and I see the notification in time, I will pop in to see if I can help. So I would suggest if you're going to tag people in your show, tell them why you're tagging them. But tags, not everybody has tags turned on as notifications too. So I would also just recommend that you ask people to bookmark the show or bookmark an item. Um, where I tag on screen, where on my show screen before I start. So down below in the chat, you just tag, you just say like Millicent's just did Angie's this and that. So you just type in the at and the person's name, and that tags them. Babe Alice says, Coach Const, my opinion is you don't need to red chat. I usually live like seeing people get tagged. But I guess everyone is different. I don't mind seeing people get tagged unless you're like secretly. If it's, I mean, if you don't want everyone to know that you tag somebody, then send them a private message instead. Because I don't think that if you tag someone and it gets red chatted, I don't think that the person sees that because it's basically been blocked. So you can't say at the Red Rooster cock a doodle do. I wouldn't see that because it got red chatted if you used that first part of the cock a doodle do. So Kinley Rescue says I'm going to start tagging you in every show I watch. Angie Snot says heading to shop for a moment, might catch you later on tomorrow. Thanks, Angie. Love you. Dave from Alberta says, "Oh, I'm guilty of tagging lots of people in shows I like." But Dave, so here's the thing: it's like, are you tagging just to bring? Are you tagging people because you know that they're gonna like the stuff? So I don't mind if you tag me. I know it's probably something I'm gonna like, right? Do you know what I mean? But everybody is different. Everybody is different. Yeah. So when you tag somebody, don't tag them just for the sake of like saying, "Hey, a bunch of people come into this show." You'll notice that like 2 years ago, tagging was like a huge thing, and everybody would like tag. They would have like it would be this thick on the screen of like names that people had like saved and typed and then tagged in. So I say tag with caution. Tag people when you know that they're going to like this stuff. Like Big Bella says, I only tag when I know they'll like it. Again, some people are going to hate being tagged, period, no matter what. And you'll find out very quickly if they're nasty. They'll tell you they don't want to be tagged, and then you can just know not to tag that person and maybe unfollow them if you want. So it's just up to you. If I get tagged and I'm available, I will come in. But if I'm not available, and these days I'm more not available than available. Fragment Artist says, I see some profiles have a button that says tip me. How is that done? So Millicent says, all sellers have it. Sometimes we tip new sellers to encourage someone. Yeah. So the tipping is a way for you to show appreciation for a seller. And you can tip, I think like there's even a custom button, if I remember correctly, but there's $50, $10, $5, $1. So oftentimes, if we do a raid into a brand new seller, I might tip $1 just to say welcome to whatnot. Or if somebody's doing a really great show, and or I just find like someone's worked really hard on the show and they didn't do too well, I might tip them. We used to have gift to chat, which was another way to support a seller. So sometimes if you just want to support a seller, but there are free ways to support a seller. There's lots of free ways to support a seller, like sharing the show, tagging your friends if you see something that you think they'll like. Like if I see watches in a show, I will tag Absolute Flipping Deals because I know she will buy the watches. So I will tag, like I'll say there's watches, but I'll tell her when I won't just tag her. I will say Absolute Flipping Deals, there's watches, that sort of thing. So I think there's all kinds of ways you can share the show to your own social media. You can share somebody else's show to social media, that helps them. There's lots of ways you can just tap the screen and show hearts to help support. I mean, there's a lot of times when a seller is struggling because they're not getting bids, but you tap that screen and show hearts, it helps a ton. It helps a ton, let me tell you. When you're having a tough show and there's a bunch of hearts. Oh, whoever tipped me, you didn't have to tip me. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Let me just scroll down. Hang on. Should be mindful on work days with tagging. Most people will have their notifications turned off if they're working. If they don't and they're working and you get interrupted by a notification, they really should have their notifications turned off while they're working. That's my opinion. tip you for top. Hi, Top Loader Auctions. How are you? There's one seller in the States that has her mod keep a list of buyers who want to be tagged for shows, and the mod will tag everyone on the list. I mean, if that's what people are wanting to. Somebody wanted to tip me, but no tip selection was available like it's usually on the sides. So it's usually on the side underneath. Millicent! Oh my God, I love you. Don't, I love you so much, Millicent. Everyone follow Millicent. Thank you for the tip. You were awesome. I love you. Um, Penelope Pick says, I have found that just making conversation helped me. Love you, Babe Bella. Have a great day. You had it checked off on settings. Yeah. So sellers can turn off tips. You can turn that off if you don't want to have a tip. When you're, I don't leave my house. I have left my house. I will leave my house again. I promise. Top Loader Options. Hearts are kind of like likes. They're Nelson says, I don't sell. Follow me at your peril. My kitten is all over my iPad on your. Hello, kitten. I'm getting an. I'm glad I can't. Top Loader. Oh my gosh, you're awesome. You don't need to do that, tip. Everyone, please follow Top Loader Auctions. Tell us more about what you got going on and what you sell. Thank you so much. You're learning. I'm glad you're learning. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. We're going to be raiding soon. So if anyone has a suggestion, ideally a Canadian who we could raid, any category is fine. Everyone suggests put tips back on the side, like over here. It should be under, you have to go to promote. It's under promote. Oh, you had it turned on tips, but the person who was trying to send me said the tips was not there. That's weird. And it wasn't in your profile either. That's definitely a glitchy glitch. They should report that to Whatnot for sure. Yeah, it used to be that tips was over here. It was like, Dave from Alberta says sometimes the tip button glitches headed to. Now here's one thing. I don't know how many people. Let's see. If I hit promote, is it going to let me promote? Bid. Yeah. Keep as is. No. I just want 10. Bid. Keep as is. Start promotion. Let's see. Oh, no, it's working again. Okay, so FYI, boosting is working again. For a while there, boosting wasn't working for Canadians, but now it's working. So I just wasted $10 testing it, but that's okay. Top Loader says, I sell cards and unique items. Ooh, I love it. What am I doing? Sorry, hang on. I do not like this, Sam. I am. Hang on, sorry. I'm just gonna have to. Sorry that I just bumped you. I can't see a tip on the right now. Please hold. Hang on. It's under your name at the top. You have to click on your name. It should also be over on the side under boost for people who are watching. There should be on the side under boost. Sometimes it only shows in profile and I don't know why either. It seems to be glitching. Millicent says, I see it at the right. Ooh, Living the Dream is looking for Scooby-Doo fabric. If you have, please message me. Are you looking for new or vintage Scooby-Doo fabric? So, oh, and you should check and see if Draz has any, DRAZ, and also Paler 17. She sometimes is still on here. Paler 17 also. It's under boost. Okay, that's what I thought. The only thing I see on the right is boost. When I click on her name at the top, it says tip. Yeah, so if you go to the booth, you click on boost, then you have to scroll, like you have to look down and tips should be like under it. Vintage if possible. Okay, so vintage Scooby-Doo fabric. But both. Vintage Scooby-Doo fabric, any fabric that's got Scooby-Dooby-Doo on it. Aiden, hello, how are you? Welcome in. Okay, sarsaparilla. It's probably going to be next week, to be honest, because I was hoping to do it this week, but we have the Hastings Waterfront Festival coming up, and I have a ton of work to do. on that. So I'm going to be working on the Hastings Waterfront Festival for the next few days. So that's going to be. I know. I'm sorry, Sarsaparilla. I will. I have to first load it with all the stuff. I have to. I want to preload it. I want to have everything pretty and hanging. So I need to have. I need to move my hanging bar from the auction up to there. Um, Kid Lady Rescue says most don't know because Boost is yes. I know. So it's kind of hidden because let's face it. Ooh, Pac-Man Girl says I have Scooby-Doo fabric in storage. Okay, Pac-Man Girl, if you pull out whenever you pull it out of storage, a message living the dream. You need more buttons. I need more buttons too. I like buttons on the side. Chris Con, good morning. How are you? Is it still morning? It is still morning where I am. Okay. Um yes, Sarsaparilla, you're probably going to have to remind me, but I'm hoping that I can do it next week and have everything preloaded. Well, I know it's got to be preloaded. It's not a ton. There's not a ton. It's all ladies. It's from one woman locally, but she expanded and then shrank. So we've got lots of different sizes. So yeah, so I will start loading that. There we go. Okay, and look at that. We've found Scooby Doo fabric already. Boom! The magic of whatnot. Okay, who should we raid? Does anyone have any suggestions for who we should raid? While I'm ridiculously boosting myself right now, we will leave. I'll hang on. This is still charging, and it seems to be charging slowly, but we can risk it. We're gonna go back outside because it has charged for a bit. We're gonna walk outside. Oh, Swan Thrift Store has a Scooby show coming up. Oh, that's so cool. Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? Kitten Lady Rescue. I don't know what that means. Oh, Nice Comps. Oh, Nice Comps is on? Okay. Hang on. Let me just see if I can. Ooh, bright lights. Bright lights, bright lights. I'm going to see if I can find a Canadian first. And then, if not, we'll go to Nice Comps. Minimize show, home. All right. Let's see who we've got on right now. I noticed that a lot of Canadians are taking breaks. Oh, we have a new seller. We have a new Canadian seller. So we're going to go into there. But next time I will go to Nice Comps if I can't find a Canadian, which is most of the time I cannot find a Canadian. All right. So feel free to share your shows while I'm doing this. It takes me a while to type this out. There we go. Okay. I've never been in this person's show. I have no clue, but she's looks like she's brand new. Let me just check out her profile. She's sold 17 items. And Prairie Nights is on in an hour. Yay, Prairie Nights. Everyone make sure that you bookmark Prairie Nights show. I wish I was staying on longer, but I cannot stay on longer. All right, we're going to go into Adviro Ma 333, newer seller. And she's Canadian, so let's just show her some love. Put in a bunch of emojis, show her some love, welcome her to Whatnot, and then you can go upon your day and check out Costume Show tomorrow with Sarsaparilla. I love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you, Millicent, for all your help. I love you. Yes, and just a reminder that today at thank you, Millicent, sell and grow in the handmade category at 2 p.m. Eastern today. You don't want to miss it on Whatnot Sellers. So have an awesome day. I love you guys. Thanks, Lisa. Bye, everyone.